So for those of you that follow my channel know that I pretty much exclusively post Jaguars related content because I absolutely love the Jaguars. And on my channel I go really in depth on different things such as breaking down a player we have or looking at a position group and seeing how we fare at that, or doing game previews and post-game videos and all different types of content like that. But now let's go ahead and take a step back. The Jaguars have obviously gone through free agency, signed some players, they've cut some players, and now the draft is a few weeks old. So now it's time to take a look at the Jaguars and say, how good are the Jaguars right now? You know, we've made a lot of different splash moves when it comes to swapping quarterbacks from Blake Bortles to Nick Foles, and we've also done a bunch of different things when it comes to the draft and obviously filling different positions. So let's look at the situation, man. And the Jaguars are coming off of I'm just gonna say it, a shit 2018 season. It sucked. It took a big time toll on me. I got to the point where it was like a quarter away from the season ending and we were out of it, so I was too lazy to make preview videos just because I didn't want to talk about the Jaguars, man. They just made me upset. I am as diehard of a Jags fan as you guys can find, and these losses hurt me just as much as most Jag fans watching this video hurt them. So, and Jaguars being bad is a situation that we're pretty used to. You know, every year besides 2017, the best record that we've had since 2011, besides the 2017 season, has been 5-11. And last year was a different year just because we actually had reason for optimism because the Jaguars had just made that AFC Championship run. The Jaguars, that's the farthest they've ever been in franchise history. We've reached the AFC Championship game 3 times, and the Jaguars went from a team that really had all the potential to spiraling down out of control and down to 5-11 after starting off the year 3-1. So, but the thing is, the Jaguars in 2018, a lot of things just went against them. First of all, the quarterback, Blake Bortles, sucked. We all know that. He's no longer on the team. Also, just injuries plagued us. We were just so injury-riddled from the offensive line. Our 3 best offensive linemen got put on the IR halfway through the year. All of our tight ends were getting injured. Our running back group was also just injured. I mean, we had, Leonard Fournette obviously in and out and, struggling with hamstring stuff and also suspension issues. Corey Grant went out for the year pretty early. And just also our wide receiver group, they weren't able to catch on just because the quarterback play was so bad. And then also the defense, they weren't as lights out as it was in 2017, but a lot of that was due to the fact that we didn't have a number 1 rushing offense anymore. The defense was put in a lot of bad situations because they were never playing with a lead, and that's what the Jaguars defense is best at, playing with a lead. So now we'll go ahead and look at the Jaguars and at their roster and really project how they do in this upcoming year. And the Jaguars, when I look at them, man, I mean, I think they have a potential to win the Super Bowl. We have a very good roster, but at the same time, we are the Jaguars, so we have a floor of what, 3-13, 4-12. Now, I think some things will be working for us. Now, here's some points of optimism for the Jaguars. We will finally have a sense of consistency at quarterback. When it comes to Blake Bortles, I mean, you really didn't know what Blake Bortles you were going to get from week to week. When Blake Bortles was playing at his ceiling, he was very fun because he could run the ball, he could make throws, play with some confidence, and all that. But at the same time, man, his floor was painful. It was so bad. I mean, he'd go back there, his mechanics would be out of whack. He'd be throwing frisbees of football, throwing balls off players' helmets, reading defenses incorrectly. It was just bad, and that was just a huge mistake that the Jaguars made. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying, oh, you see a Jaguar. You support the Jaguars bringing back Blake Bortles. And I agree with that. I did. And I'll go and say this. It was the worst take I've ever had on this channel. But I can own up to that. I can own up to the fact that I was dead wrong about Blake Bortles. But it doesn't matter what I think. I say that all the time. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the GM and Tom Coughlin think. And they're not even admitting that they made a mistake. they're saying that Blake Bortles deserved that contract after leading the Jaguars to the AFC Championship game. No. I mean, maybe you could bring him back, but he had that fifth-year option. You didn't have to re-sign him to, this 3-year deal, and then all of a sudden now it's hurting us to where we have all this dead cap still from him. And we're paying most of his salary while he's over there on the Rams. So that was a bad decision. I can admit I was wrong. The GM, Dave Caldwell, and Tom Coughlin don't admit that they're wrong. But we're going to move on. Nick Foles, former Super Bowl winner. I really like Nick Foles. I would even, last year in the playoffs, I would kind of bandwagon for him just because I like the underdog. I liked how a lot of people always count him out. He never really got a true chance, but now he's got that chance. Jaguars signed him on a big deal, so while he may not, be this superstar of a quarterback, but we know we'll at least get some consistency, and we know that his floor will be higher than Blake Bortles. So we have that, and I also look, sticking with the offense, I look at our offensive line. Our offensive line should have the ability to run block extremely, extremely well. I mean, we have left tackle Cam Robinson coming back. He got injured and out for the year in the second game against the Patriots. And while I wasn't very impressed with him in the preseason and during the regular season, I should say as well, just because he looked a little bit out of shape, he looked a little bit slow on his feet. But I hope that he can learn from that and come back stronger. But one thing that he was always good at is run blocking. Our left guard, Andrew Norwell, we signed him to a big money contract after he had an all-pro season. He had kind of a down year in 2018, but I think he will bounce back. He's known as a great worker. He doesn't ever get injured. 2018 was just a random year where he did get injured, but hopefully he comes back stronger. Brendan Linder, he's always good while he's in there. Of course, he deals with his injuries and whatnot. But, right guard, A.J. Cann, we can always upgrade from there, but the guy is dependable. He doesn't get injured either. And we have right tackle Jawan Taylor that we got in the second round of the draft. A lot of people, NFL analysts saw him as a top 10, top 15 type of player, and he fell to us in the second round. So our offensive line, if it stays healthy, which in 2018 it did not, I think this offensive line at the very least can be nasty in the run game and be able to open up holes for Leonard Fournette. And we'll go ahead and transition to Leonard Fournette. And I just wanted to say this. There's a lot of things that I learned from this YouTube channel. And one thing that I learned was that I bashed Leonard Fournette far too much in 2018. And as a fan, I do get passionate about it. I do let my fanism kind of affect myself in videos, especially during a season when emotions run high. And I regret kind of bashing him in a way. And a lot of reason why I did that was because I didn't like the offseason that he had. I thought that he spent too much time when I looked at him on social media just, throwing money around, buying expensive jewelry, just all this different stuff. It just didn't look like he was doing the right thing. But this offseason is completely different. He didn't go to New Orleans. He went up to Wyoming, of all places, and did training there. He went from making goofy Instagram and Twitter posts to all of a sudden, showing him working out and having these quotes that, you turned your back on me, I'll prove you guys wrong. Just random stuff like that. And I really hope that he comes back stronger. He comes back just with a sense of some kind of like workout regime where he doesn't have these little nagging injuries. I just really hope that. And Leonard Fournette, I was a guy I was really happy when the Jaguars drafted him, but he's got to come back with his head on right. And if he does stay healthy, the guy's an absolute beast. I mean, last year he wasn't ever healthy. He didn't play a full game until week 10. He didn't have a single 100-yard rushing game. He only had 439 yards rushing on the year. And I do think that he's a guy that does really like football. I mean, I saw him. He got voted on as a team captain. I saw him extremely emotional after losing the AFC Championship game. I saw when Jason Myers was on the team struggling, he was the only guy that went up to him on the sidelines and talked to him. I think he's a good teammate. And I do think that he really likes football. I just think that he lacks maturity, and hopefully he can come back stronger. And if he does, the guy's an absolute beast. He's a downhill runner. He'll be able to help you on the run game and also even passing game. He's good at that too. So, and luckily, if he does go down, we drafted Rock Armstead in the 5th round, who's a very similar type of runner as Fournette. But man, if Fournette can come back with his head on right, he's an elite running back. So let's hope he does. And, we transition over. Obviously, the tight end position leaves some, room for growth, but also our wide receivers, a lot of people count them out. I think D.D. Westbrook is a very good wide receiver who could have a huge potential, and I also think DJ Chark is kind of being slept on. DJ Chark was obviously a little bit injured last year, but I think he's a perfect wide receiver for Nick Foles. He's a guy that is big. He's a guy that is a deep ball threat. One of Foles' best things that he does is dropping back and throwing it high and throwing it to a place to let his wide receiver run under the ball. And I think DJ Chark, if he stays healthy, I think he's got that potential. And the better DJ Chark gets, the better D.D. Westbrook will be. So we've got that going for us, and also Marquise Lee coming back. We'll see how Keelan Cole does. So we got that working for us. So I just really think, man, with our offense, it's going to be much improved. And that's only going to help out the defense. This defense, we've had a little bit of turnover on the defense. You look at our safeties. We're going to have 2 new safeties starting this year after last year. Last year, week 1, we had Deshaun Gibson and Barry Church starting for us. Now we have Ronnie Harrison and Jared Wilson starting. And a lot of people are freaking out about Jared Wilson. I don't mind Jared Wilson there. And the thing is, if Jared Wilson does bad, in training camp and in the preseason, there's still some good free agents out there. You can get a Trey Boston. You can potentially get an Eric Berry if the price tag is right. There's good free agents on the market. So if the Jaguars look and say, we really need to upgrade, there's guys we can go and get. So I'm comfortable with Jared Wilson at that spot. Obviously, our linebacker spot is a little bit sketchy. We have Miles Jack in there. Good looks on Dave Caldwell with getting a guy like Quincy Williams in there to be able to potentially start at the weak side linebacker if Talon Smith doesn't come back. And I think the key for our defense is getting the opponent in 3rd and long situations, because we're going to have a killer pass rush. On our edges, on 3rd down, on 3rd and 8 plus, we're going to have Yannick Ngakoue on one side and our new toy Josh Allen on the other side. We slide Campbell in the middle, and at the other spot we can have a Taven Bryan who hopefully be improved, maybe even a Marcel Daris, to be able to be in there and rush the passer, create sacks, strip sacks, get pressure on a quarterback, which leads into potentially putting the ball into Jalen Ramsey or A.J. Boye's hands, man. I think with the Jaguars, that the Jaguars have a very good chance of being good. Like I said, man, our ceiling, we have a Super Bowl looking roster. I really do. It's just, can we put it together? The key is putting it together. The key is being able to win division games, because obviously our division is getting better, like we say every year. In the last 2 years, 4 AFC South teams have made the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? In 2 different years, 2017 the Jaguars made it and the Titans made it. 2018 the Texans made it and the Colts made it. The Colts are looking good with Andrew Luck. We'll see about the Texans. They have a franchise quarterback with Deshaun Watson. The defense is getting a little bit older. And the Titans I always think are pretty good. They have a good roster. Of course, they just get a lot of turnover at the offensive coordinator position. And also Marcus Mariota I think he's pretty good, but he's in and out with injury. He's always dealing with different injuries. I mean, last season, week 17, when they were bidding for a playoff spot, they have Blaine Gabbert starting at quarterback. Not good. They got to find consistency when it comes to having the starting quarterback play every week, week in, week out. So, really, with the Jaguars, that's the main thing, man. The key factors are just health on the offense. The offensive line staying healthy, because I think the offensive line, if it can stay healthy, I think it's a top unit in the NFL. At least a top 5, top 10 unit. Nick Foles, obviously, it's really his first time where he's really been handed the keys. I think he's, the best he's been in his career right now. So, he's the best. He was the best addition at quarterback we could have gotten this offseason, whether it be in the draft or free agency. Fournette, got to stay healthy, got to keep his head in the game. If so, he'll be great. Obviously, we're a little bit sketchier at tight end and wide receiver, but a good run game and a good quarterback can help out wide receivers. And this our defense getting teams in 3rd and long situations. That's the key. And I really, like I said, man, the Jaguars have a high ceiling, but also a low floor. None of us would be surprised if we went 4-12, but let's hope that doesn't happen. So that's the end of my video. Let me know what you guys think of the Jaguars. Like, what are we gonna do in 2019? Are you more of a lines of the Jaguars are gonna suck, or are you more of the lines that the Jaguars have Super Bowl potential? Let me know, man. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.